This is the Swiss Air Throne seat, a very unique seat which is only offered by a handful of airlines, and unlike all the other business class seats on this aircraft, this one you actually have to pay a premium for. I'm on a night flight tonight between Singapore and Zurich, and I thought I'd book this throne seat to show you exactly what you get if you want a little bit of extra space on an overnight sleeper flight. But what exactly do you get with this throne seat? Do I think it's worth it, in my opinion? And how can you guarantee to get a seat like this the next time you fly? There are many reasons why Changi Airport here in Singapore is my all-time favourite airport anywhere in the world. One of those reasons being the staff, who on this occasion, even though my flight wasn't going for another 7 hours, still let me check my bags in so I could get rid of them and then do my second favourite thing about this airport, which is to take the quick 5-minute trip on the monorail and into the Jewel, a huge area with restaurants, bars, shops, and of course an opportunity to really go to town on these dumplings from Din Tai Fung, which I really just absolutely love. And with a full belly, and just as I was about to go through security, I actually noticed that Lufthansa were here celebrating a pretty significant milestone. Now, Swiss Air is part of the Lufthansa group, which is part of Star Alliance. So here at Singapore's Changi Airport, you can actually get access to Singapore Airlines' business class lounges if you are travelling business class on Swiss Air, which we're doing today, obviously, because we're flying in that throne seat. Everyone's getting their picture taken outside the big sign that says 60 years celebration for Lufthansa at the moment. It was 1965 when they first flew their first ever flight from Germany here to Changi Airport in Singapore, and they've got a bit of a pop-up here in the airport. It's really cool. If you like aviation, you can come down here. They're also giving away like little model planes. I'd love one of them, but no, I'll save it for the kids. Anyway, happy 60th anniversary, Lufthansa. I can spin the wheel?
Spin the wheel and you get something exciting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I'd love to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so just spin?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Chocolate.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks
No
very much.
problem.
Thanks. Happy 60th anniversary, Lufthansa. Thanks for the chocolate. I will take this home as a present for the family. All right, let's go to the lounge. Let's have a look at today's flight plan. Let's take a look at our journey from a pilot's perspective in today's flight plan, in the same time it will take me to install my Holofly eSIM that I'll be using in our destination today, Zurich. We're on a Boeing 777, and as a Great Circle line, the path from Singapore to Zurich would look something like this. But due to airspace restrictions and not wanting to fly over the Himalayas, our flight path today is going to be something more like this. Flying for about 11.5 hours over many countries, but still not as many destinations that Holofly can give you data in, with more than 200 destinations around the world covered. And if, like me, you are travelling around multiple countries, you don't need a separate eSIM for one. You can just choose a region and use the same single eSIM for your whole trip. As we're heading west, we're going to be flying on even flight levels, and with our fuel load, we'll probably start at around 30,000 feet. Good tailwinds today, so we should get a good ground speed of around 490 knots. That is super fast, just like the speeds you can expect from Holofly, as you get unlimited data, no daily restrictions, and a fast and reliable internet connection without having to change your existing SIM. Now, the weather en route looks pretty stable, but there is a line of storms passing through Europe for our arrival. But whatever the weather when we get there, it's good to know my eSIM is now installed on my phone, and all I need to do is turn that line on when we touch down, and I'll have fast, reliable data before I even get off the plane. Use my special promo code STEPH747 and save money on your next eSIM when you buy with Holofly. So I was offered a welcome drink of either a champagne or I didn't quite catch what it was, but it's this kind of red drink. I don't even know if it's alcoholic or not. I'm going to pre-fill my breakfast menu for tomorrow morning. Okay, we have juices, hot beverages, croissants, pastries, brioches, bread, yogurt, fruit, music. Wow, there's a lot of choice here. So let's do a very quick seat tour whilst we sit down. Now, in the cabin here, first of all, it's a 1-2-2 configuration, and then it kind of alternates as well. So the throne seat that I'm sitting in at the moment isn't always like just down one side of the plane. But obviously the key thing you notice first of all is you've just got, well, there's more space around you, but you're further away from the window on this side because you've got this panel here, but then you're also further away from the aisle on this side because you've got another panel to this side of you here. Kind of makes sense. As opposed to having two seats, you've got one that spreads out across the whole space. Got some storage here where I've just got a few things in at the moment. Amenities kit, which I'll come to in a second. There's also more storage down here by my right knee. Another storage area in front of you. I'm not sure what this is. Pretty small, this one. Maybe for your iPhone? Anyway, something small. I found more storage, look. Some headphones. Oh, I also have a coat hanger. I didn't bring a coat though. As we start our pushback now, getting ready to leave Singapore, my first impressions are that it's not as private a seat as I thought it might be. Well, for two reasons. First of all, there's no door that you can close, or there's nothing that wraps around the side of you, and so you can kind of see all the other passengers out to the left-hand side as I'm sitting at the moment. The other thing is the height of the seat isn't actually that high, so you can sort of see over the top of the seat in front of you to the back of the people's heads in the row in front. For a seat where you have to pay a premium on top of other seats because you're sitting as an individual, I thought it might be a little bit more private than it actually is. I kind of feel like I almost have to slouch down in my seat to get that level of privacy that I want, but I'm not going to do that because that's not very comfortable. I've discovered a couple of new buttons. There's one called massage, which I will now activate and report back. Oh, that's nice. But there's also one called seat cushion, which you can press on minus to go softer or plus to go firmer, but it just doesn't do anything. The seat just feels like a seat. The massage is nice though. Now, this throne seat is not actually unique to the Swiss Air Boeing 777. In fact, it's not even unique to Swiss Air in general, and it's been around for a while. The first throne seat was developed by Swiss Air, but that was back in 2010, and they've actually got them on their A330s, Boeing 777s, and on their A340s. Also, Singapore Airlines on their Boeing 737-8 Maxes, they've got a throne seat too. Finnair on their A330s, Malaysian on their A330s and their A340s, JetBlue on their Mint First Class, TAP Portugal. Quite a few airlines are offering throne seats, so it's not unique just to Swiss. But I'm debating whether it's worth, and I'll talk to you about the pricing in a short while, but I'm debating whether it's worth paying extra money to get this extra space. And I think the only time that it really would be worthwhile doing is on a night flight like this, when I am going to basically eat, and then in about half an hour's time I'm just going to try and sleep for most of this 11-hour flight. And I think having this space around me when this whole area is converted into a bed, that's when I'm hopefully going to get the true value for the upgrade that I paid for this throne seat. Can we just take a moment to appreciate a couple of things now that the dinner service is here? First of all, this is the most Swiss beer I think I've ever been given. Look at those happy people in the Swiss Alps up there. Secondly, this vegan meal looks excellent. And thirdly, with the throne seat, can you see what I can do now is I've got my meal and I've got my laptop over to one side, out the way. In a lot of seats in business class, you can't do that. You have one table and maybe a small space next to you, but because we got so much space on this seat, I can just put my laptop to one side, keep it there. Just lots and lots of space, a lot more than you'd get in an ordinary business class seat. Anyway, I'm going to eat. Good morning. Overnight I discovered a couple of things about this seat. The first thing I discovered is, the softness and hardness, it does work. If you press the softer, it actually inflates these little cushions in the seat. And so it's like sleeping on an air mattress, which kind of reminds you of being a student in some ways, but it's also very comfortable, so that was nice. The other thing is, whilst this seat has lots of space on either side of it, it's all the same width all the way down, which means when you're asleep down here, there's not very much room to roll either side, unlike what you might get in something like, say, Finnair's business class, which has got a much wider area around your head. It's just a small thing. It was very comfortable. I slept well, don't get me wrong. It can be a little bit restrictive. There's nowhere to stick your knees out, for example. You have to sleep like a pencil for the whole night. But I'm up, I'm awake, I'm dressed as you can see, and pretty soon they're going to be serving breakfast. there are three ways you can guarantee to book this throne seat. The first one is you pay for it, which is exactly what I did. So I'll talk about the total cost of this whole business class trip in a second, but the price of the upgrade to this throne seat on this particular flight was 341 Singaporean dollars, which is roughly around 407 Australian dollars. I'll put some other conversions up here. That's on top of the standard business class fare that everybody else who isn't in a throne seat in this cabin is also paying. The second way to do it, if you don't want to pay, is if you wait 48 hours before the flight actually departs, you can then jump on the seat map, and if any of the throne seats are available, you can then book them for free. Now that's a bit more of a riskier move because obviously people might have paid for them up front, there might be none left, but it also saves you a ton of money. And then the third way is if you are, I think it's an elite honours club member with Lufthansa, that's like their top status for their frequent flyers club, then you can book this seat at any point for free as well. But for someone like me who doesn't have the status, who wanted to guarantee to book this seat so I could make this video and show you, yeah, I had to fork out quite a lot of cash just to get this seat. And my breakfast is here. I've got my little bowl of fruit, my orange juice, a selection of breads. What's better than one bread? A selection of breads, some jam, and my coffee's on its way. So is it worth it? Should you pay extra money for this throne seat? Well, this flight generally costs, from what I found, around 3,500 to 4,500 Australian dollars between Singapore and Zurich. So if you're paying what I paid, as I said earlier, around $400 just to get this seat guaranteed, that's about a 10% bump on top of the business class fare just to be able to guarantee that you can sit in this seat. So would I pay that again for this seat? Probably not, to be honest. If you can get this for free, then of course I think it's a great idea. So if you've got the status, or if you can book within that 48-hour window and you can guarantee this seat, it's a bit of a no-brainer, to be honest. But to pay for this, I don't think I would in the future. The seat itself, whilst there is a lot of space as I showed, it's also not quite as private as I would have liked it to have been. And it's comfortable, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's freaking business class, so of course it's a luxury to sit here. But it's not the most comfortable bed. I've slept in more comfortable business class beds that I didn't have to pay a premium for. If you want alternatives and you want to guarantee sitting on your own, I'd probably look from Singapore at something like the Singapore Airlines A350. That's a 1-2-1 configuration. Might not be a throne per se, but it's still a single seat. But to be honest, I just think it's a little bit more comfortable than this, and you're not paying an additional premium to get that single seat sitting on your own. Let me know in the comments below, would you pay an extra 10% to guarantee sitting in this seat? Thanks to Holofly for sponsoring this video. Don't forget code STEPH747 if you want to get a discount off your eSIM next time you go traveling. Otherwise, thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you on the next flight. Check out this next video right here. I think you'll really like this one. Thanks for watching.